Hey everybody. Well, I'm here in Sacramento. Going to introduce you to a very cool lady. We got together one time to train, and we ended up just talking and talking. And wow, I was amazed. What a great story of perseverance and strength. And I want to share that story with you. So let's go meet her, okay? Hey everybody. Here I am at Xai Lor Taekwondo. I'm going to talk to Xai, the owner. She has an amazing story I want to share with you guys. She's actually over here warming up, kicking Bob. Let's watch her for a little bit here.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi, Don.
Good to see you again. Hey, so thank you so much for inviting me. Beautiful place here. I love what you're doing. Tell me a little bit about what you do and why you do it.
So,
The Taekwondo stuff.
I teach Taekwondo. Taekwondo is a Korean martial arts, and it came into the United States roughly in the late 40s and early 50s. And in the 2000, it became an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Taekwondo normally focuses on leg exercises or leg techniques, because we believe that legs are the longest, fastest, and also the strongest. So it's a stand-up fighting, and it is probably, you want to use Taekwondo as your first mode of weapon if you're empty-handed. Here there are two modes. There is application, it's where like you're street fighting in self-defense, and then there's also sports fighting, which is like what we do in the classroom. And that is going to the body, which is, you can see in the blue right here. We would call this the hogu, or chest guard in English, and it goes around your chest area, and that's where most points are earned in terms of the sport. The second area that you can earn points is the head area, and we normally have a helmet on, and you can do kicks to the head as well.
You have the belts here. These are for, what you explained to me earlier, these are for visuals so that the kids can understand. Because you teach kids, correct?
Mostly kids.
Mostly
Yeah,
kids?
mostly
So how many kids do you have currently?
Right now we're hovering a little bit over 200 students at the moment.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, good for you. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing Taekwondo for 20 years, but teaching for 15 and owning the business for 11 going in June.
Okay, here I am again with Xai. Okay, Xai, you have a very awesome, inspiring story. And if you would, please tell me what you feel comfortable about where you've been and what you've accomplished.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell my story. My story as it relates to GTFU is started about, well, I mean, my whole entire life required me to really be aggressive, like you said earlier, and get up. I was actually born in Laos. Right after the war, the Vietnam War, and so it was pretty tragic how we moved or migrated from Laos to Thailand. So that was my whole entire childhood was pretty tough, going from Laos to Thailand, lived in a refugee camp, and then moved into to Stockton, at 7.
I can imagine the stability not being
right, being in a whole new country. I was also raised by my stepdad. I've never seen my real father before, so it was challenging growing up as a kid because there was always a depression. Not knowing that there's somebody there or that there's a man that loves you, and I guess for a girl, you really need to have your father there, and I didn't have that, so I was always very depressed. But I had a very strong mom who always encouraged me to be strong and serve as a role model, to tell me, hey, this doesn't matter what you're going through, you need to get up and do what you got to do.
Well, we're lucky to have that generation
right
telling us this.
Yeah. So Life got pretty tough about 2015. I was with a gentleman who was not very stable, and he left. And so after he left, within that year of all of 2016, I became very more depressed. I already have the Taekwondo school, so I took care of the school by myself. I had 3 little kids. My baby was 3 at the time, and my oldest was 10. And so I was a single mom, running a business, taking care of 3 kids by myself. But I got up every day and I said, you know what? Yeah, I can't let my situation determine my outcome. So every single day I got up and did everything that I had to do. About 11 months after he left, I developed cancer in the breast. So it hit me really hard, when you get the phone call, the classic phone call, hey, you got cancer, my world got really dark. It was like someone flipped the switch and it became very dark. I remember sitting in my living room and it was just really cold. My son was playing on the living room floor and I was just crying alone on the couch, thinking that my world was over, that, this is it. I'm going to die. There's nothing left for me. I'm not going to get to be a mom. I'm not going to get to be a daughter. I'm not going to get to live this life. I'm leaving all of my students behind. And so depression set in and I was very scared. My thought was, I'm going to die. This is it. This is it. Death is here. And so one thing led to another. Let's see what happened. I ended up getting a surgery and then chemo, radiation. And then a year later, they told me, Xai, you now have colon cancer. So I ended up developing colon cancer, at which point they found that the breast cancer had metastasized to my ovaries. So now it's turned to stage 4 breast cancer. So they took out my ovaries and they said, Xai, you have colon cancer. So we did the surgery, chemo, and then they said, hey, you know what? It moved into your liver. So now I have colon...
More good news.
Yeah. Well, this is what the doctor said. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is you have cancer. Oh, no. He said the bad news is you have cancer. You have colon cancer. And I said, what's the good news? The good news is you have colon cancer. Because if you have colon cancer, what it does is, because there's so much study and knowledge about colon cancer, that the doctor wasn't fearful of, the possibility that I wasn't going to survive. So they knew that there's I have a higher chance of surviving because it was colon cancer. Now, had it been breast cancer in my colon, she said if that was the case, then I would have just came home and count my days, and they just would make me comfortable at that point. Right, but it ended up being colon cancer. So surgery, chemo, then it went into my liver. So the doctor's like, the only thing you can do now is take it out because you've chemoed out. You can't take any more chemo. Because by this time I was already getting a neuropathy in my fingers. I couldn't hold on to things anymore. I couldn't zip my own clothes or put my own clothes on. I had neuropathy in my fingers, my toes. With chemo, you have chemo brain, they call it, where you can't really think. Sometimes you would for example, if I'm talking to you, I wouldn't be able to understand what you're saying because my brain is just in a fog. So they took out the tumor from my liver. I recovered from that. Took me 3 months to recover, and then after 3 months after that, so about 6, almost 7 months, they told me, hey, surprise! It now metastasized to your lungs, so you have it in your lungs. So now I have colon cancer in my lungs. And the doctor said, again, we can't do any more chemo. The only thing we can do is take it out. So I decided that, that's what I was going to do. So they took it out. So now I have I'm short half of the lung. And I still have tumor in my one of my lungs, but It's stable, so there's a tiny little nodule in my lung, one of my upper right lung, but it's not growing, so they're just going to keep an eye on it. And it's been 5 years since they took out the breast tumor, and it's been 4 years since they took out the colon tumor. 3 years for the liver metastasis, and 2 years for the lung metastasis.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. And just that you're sitting here, I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Well, it's like your GTFU. Like, I remember being really scared and just wanting to. I didn't want to die. That was the thing. I did not want to die. But I was so scared to die because I didn't want to leave my family, my friends, and especially my children behind. And I felt like
you weren't done.
I wasn't done. So I needed to get up. So let me tell you some examples of getting up and just doing this. I would purposely schedule my chemo appointments at 9 in the morning when they first open, or 7 in the morning. Well, 9, because I would take the kids to school. And then single mom, so I'm doing this all by myself, right? So I would schedule my appointment after I drop my kids off at school. So I would drop them off at school at 8, and then go to chemo at 9, finish by noon, and then I would go straight to pick up the kids afterward. Of course, eat in between, right? Pick up the kids, and then come here and start just grinding it out. I would put it on Friday purposely so that I could rest Saturday and Sunday and then start again on Monday. And chemo, the first 4 chemos were 2 weeks apart. So because those are the strongest and the hardest one that you get, so I would do first week, I would feel the worst on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th day, which would be my Saturday, Sunday, a little bit of Monday, and then I would start working again on Tuesday, almost at my normal capacity. But there were days when I just didn't want to get up. I told myself I would be depressed, or I would have these massive headaches that I just wanted to die and make the pain go away. But despite all of the pain and the depression, I told myself that I had a purpose, and there's a little phrase that I tell my kids all the time, is what you think about, you bring about, which means that whatever you think in your head, if it's a positive thought, then you're going to produce that. But if it's a negative thought, then that's what you're going to produce. Right. So it doesn't matter what I was going through. I was always telling myself, no, you got to get up. You got to get up. Yes, you just had chemo. So what? Get the fuck up, all right? I hope we can say that in this
that's what it is. It's what it is. Well, like I said, I'm amazed at your story, and I can even imagine, we don't have to go into more detail, but I can even imagine the times when you were just angry. You're like angry that this is happening. And then you got not only the depression, but you have to get over the anger too. Because when we get angry, we tend to put blame somewhere.
For a minute, I was blaming God. I was like, it's why me? Like, of all people, why me? I work out, I eat, I'm clean, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I
take care of your kids.
Take care of my kids. I'm a mom. I take care of all these students. I'm a positive place for kids. Why is it that this is happening to me? So for a minute, I was very angry, and when I was angry, I didn't have a sense of purpose to live. I was just blaming God for putting this burden on me, and because I was angry, I was also very worried because I didn't have any peace at the moment.
Right.
Until I finally said, I prayed about it and I thought about it for a minute, and then it came to me, and God spoke to me. God said, hey, it doesn't matter because you're not in control. I'm in control. So because my single worry was, if I die, my kids are going to be motherless. They don't have their father already. And if I go, they're not going to have their father. Who's going to take care of them, right?
Yeah.
That was my biggest worry. And
kids will do that to you. They'll make you get up. They'll make you get up.
So but that was one of the reasons was I got up every morning because I had to feed them. They were my motivation, right? And so God said, look, whether you live or die doesn't determine their future. You know, I determine their future ultimately. You can influence it in some ways, but ultimately I'm in charge.
Right.
So when he said that to me, it's like this light just turned on and my world was bright again. And now I have like a purpose to really live for me, not just for my kids, not just for my students, but now I was living for me. Things that I was doing, getting up was, I got to do it for me. When I go work out, I got to work out for me. When I eat healthy, I got to eat it for me.
You're
when
investing in yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. The investment wasn't just on my family and my kids, but now the investment is back towards me. And sometimes I think about it and I really think that God just really wanted me to see for myself that I really needed to live for me and not for anybody else. Unfortunately, it took cancer to tell me that, you know, but I'm also very grateful for cancer that it took cancer. I'm very stubborn, so if it wasn't for cancer, I probably I'm just going to live my life like this. But it's because of cancer, it took cancer to tell me that, hey, you needed...
It showed you how strong you were.
I like to think of it that way. Yeah.
It showed you how strong you were. Because we don't know how strong we are until we have to be. And you did it. So, you have a book coming out.
I do.
You said you're writing a book, so I don't want to divulge too much more into your story. So that way you can buy the book.
Thank you.
Because I know I'm going to buy a book.
Thank you for talking about that. Yeah.
So, just...
all the details will be in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, again, thank you so much for doing what you do, And I think, I guess we can look back on our past and say, poor little me or poor whatever. And I kind of lump it up with regret. I don't have any regrets. I've made mistakes and stuff, and I wouldn't do over again. But the problem with regret, it kind of takes away from this moment because I went through this. So with that said, your purpose is right here. Your purpose is right here.
Thank you.
And there's more. There's more. I really believe. And it's such an honor to talk to you about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It really is.
So I'm going to do something for you guys because I know this is what you want to do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xai.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Now she's gonna show us a little bit of what she can do with those tiny little feet. And we'll go from there. Okay? Later, guys.
So I can do front leg. That's the short version of a back leg right here.
Okay.
Okay. So again, here's my cut leading my lead leg. Here is my cut using my back leg. Okay. So the cut is shorter and it's faster, but not as powerful.
Right, the back leg is going to be
Right, the back leg is going to be like your cross, whereas like the lead leg is like your jab, and here's your cross.
This one would
so here's my jab, here's my cross, right? But in a self-defense situation, I want to get it quick and run. I don't want to spend my time here and here. That's a waste of my time.
Right.
So what I want to do is, let's say if I'm here and let's say you're attacking me, right? I'm always going to keep, so let's say if you throw a punch, here, let's stay back here. If you throw a punch, go ahead and throw a punch at me, right? You can't reach me.
Right.
I'll just go into my back stance here and you can't reach me, right? And a lot of people will play this way in the street. But let's say I know I'm going to keep a good distance so you can't even reach me right here. Boom. So I attack you before you get me, and then you're going to be down and I'm out.
Let me ask you a question real quick. What do you think is the most important thing about self-defense?
I think the most important thing about self-defense is confidence. The way you carry yourself. It's not whether you can kick and punch or anything like that. That's second to confidence. When you have confidence and you walk into a room and you stand with your shoulders tall and your back is straight, and you walk into a room like you own the room, then most of the time people won't want to attack you, or they'll think twice about it. I always use the like zebra example. In a herd of zebra, the person that is weakest on the outside is going to be attacked versus the confident person that's leading the pack. But I think if I was to like teach somebody how to do this, like a side kick or even a front kick, I think front kick is a linear kick, side kick is also a linear kick, meaning it's in a straight line. So if I was to teach this,
which will get there as quickest.
Yeah, which is going to get there the quickest. So like if I was teaching anybody, whether it's a man or a woman, let's say if someone is attacking me, I want to do a front kick, right? That's the easiest. Just lift your knee up and then kick like that with you at the ball of your foot, right? A lot of people will have shoes on. So you're going to do this, and it's just like, I always compare it to like pushing a door open, right? Say you have a bag of groceries. You want to push the door open, but you want to do it in a snapping motion where you put that snapping pressure on someone's groin area. A super easy one is really just the front kick right here. You always, therefore you don't have to do any pivot here because the pivot comes with practice. So for not having a pivot and just doing a linear kick, you just bring your knee up, okay? Notice my toes already curl, and then I'm just gonna kick it out like this. The higher your knee comes up, the higher your kick is going to be and the more accurate it is. So it's really important that that knee comes up here. That's his groin. He goes right back down. I bring it back up and bam, kick him right in the face.
Can you kick him in the head, in the face?
Yeah, right now he's pretty. Well, you mean like front kick?
No, it was that's
I can do a front kick. So let's say if you're pretty flexible, right? If you're flexible, front kick doesn't just have to go to the groin area. Front kick can be used to the chin, right?
Okay.
Front kick can be used to the nose, okay? If you're flexible, that's why it's important to bring that knee up, so that way you can go boom here, boom, oops, here to the here, into the face.
okay.
But
So as a self-defense kick, the front kick would be.
I would definitely err on front kick and side kick because those are more, here's my side kick, right? I'm using the bottom part of my foot here. When it's in the front leg, it's called a cut kick, but when you bring it from the back, it's called a side kick because you're doing it from the side.
I think it's pretty cool that you can kick with both legs and be effective with both legs.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about Taekwondo is we train both the left and the right side. So what's really good for children is that now they're crossing the midline, they're doing a lot of right-left brain movement, coordination.
Agility.
Yeah, so it helps with reading, writing, it helps with academic, and it helps with,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
so a lot of our parents choose Taekwondo because one of those reasons, yeah.